heart of a grieving mom. Today I want to share with you bits and pieces of my grieving journey.
Let's talk about it. Hi, we're Jarrett and Luisa went with Built on Rock Parent Coaching. In our last 3 videos, we shared our journey with Joseph and Matthew. Tonight, we want to share with you Luisa's grief journey. Let's get started. What are some of the things that you found most helpful in the grieving process?
From the practical standpoint, it was very helpful not to have to think about what to cook. We have a really supportive community, and they made a meal train for, I believe, many weeks. It was like months, it felt like. And I didn't have to worry about what to make for dinner because they were so generous that we would always have leftovers. So Jarrett could take some for work, could have some for the next day. So I didn't have to worry about really even getting groceries for a little bit. Things that were really healing were scrapbooking. We're blessed with your mom, who was amazing at taking pictures, and she took pictures of the NICU and the funeral, and I was able to print those out and create a scrapbook, remembering those days and remembering how real our children were and how real our children are. And I carry that with me, the experience of making that scrapbook, very dearly. Something that was very helpful to me also was to have tangible things that had their names on it. We were gifted some necklaces, some bracelets, some rings, and I loved that. Every morning I would put them on. And we were also given blankets. Your mom made a blanket for us with pictures of them, and so I would just sit on the couch or in my prayer corner and just wrap myself with that blanket.
What are some of your most vivid memories from the first year?
I think I can summarize that with one word, and that was grace. That same grace that carried us through the first week and a half at the hospital, and then the loss, the funeral, but then later that extended for an entire year. And that grace really was an invitation for me to get closer to God and to Mary. I would wake up, and the room that we had set to be the boys' room didn't have much in it because we didn't have it quite ready. But I set up a prayer corner there, and I would wake up in the morning and go and pray for hours. I still took my maternity leave and a little extra time even. And so it was like 3 months where I just pushed pause and everything else around my life, and I just took that invitation to focus on understanding the mystery that God had given us in receiving life and then death. And I remember just waking up very early before the sun would go up and sitting in that corner and praying for hours and hours, and time would go by so quickly. And I would journal, I would pray, do the readings for the day and say a rosary, and I had a whole schedule planned for that time, and it was like one to the next, and it was just so holy. Such a beautiful time. I think I felt very close to the boys during that time too. It was beautiful. I would go to daily mass, and it was a very, truly just a receiving of gifts. It was really beautiful. I would still have moments where I would cry and miss my children a lot, but it was always filled with hope. I was never feeling desperate or without energy to do any of the things, which I've heard is very common for mothers in the first year or so of losing their children. But that wasn't the experience for me during that first year of life. I wouldn't see other children and feel angry or ask the question like, God, why did you take my children? Not for that first year, which is really surprising as I write it all down. During that time of prayer and also throughout the day, I had this deep desire to get to know Mary. I knew before our experience of losing our children of who Mary was, general idea. Mary's the mother of Jesus and the queen of heaven and earth, and that was it. Beautiful woman dressed in white, shining like the sun. But after really knowing that our children are with her, and I was like, I really want to know who this woman is and what we know about her, how I can be best friends with her, and how I can just get to know her heart, and also seeking her guidance for how to grieve. I wanted to grieve well. I don't know if there's such thing as grieving bad or grieving good, but at the time I had it in my head like I want to receive this well. I want to grieve well. And I thought, who else to look up to for guidance than to a mother who lost her only son? I wanted her to teach me how to do it, and I couldn't learn to do that without being in a relationship with her. And so you taught me how to pray the rosary. I knew how to pray the rosary when somebody else was praying it. I would just follow the Hail Marys, but I didn't really understand the mysteries, or that they actually tell the story of Jesus, and that they're special in a way because we're walking the life of Jesus through all the mysteries. And you bought me some cards to pray with them, so I had art to look at while I was praying, and I'm like obsessed with rosaries, and so I like all the prettiest rosaries, and I pick a different one for my collection. And it was a very special experience getting to know her and then feeling her like she was with me. Doing the consecration to Mary, we did it as well. We we watched the videos and we had the book, and you got me the miraculous medal. Got it blessed for me, and I still carry it. So those were the most vivid moments of that grieving journey during that first year after their loss. Like you, I also had the support and the accompaniment of Father Aaron, and that was one of our greatest gifts for our marriage, for our grieving journey, and for getting even closer to the cross and even closer to receiving everything God wanted to give during that time, and not being afraid of any emotion, big or little, and just constantly welcoming him into my feelings and not being alone in them.
So how has grief changed throughout the years?
On the first anniversary of their death, things just changed for me in my grief journey. It was like I opened a completely different door. That grace that had covered me for the year was totally taken away. It was as if now I was experiencing a completely different season of grief, where I was now invited to really carry those raw, scary emotions, extreme emotions of pain, anguish, agony. You know how it was said of Mary that a sword pierced her heart. And that's how it felt like on October 9, 2017, for months and months. And it was hard. It was really hard because all the habit I had built about waking up early and going to prayer and looking forward to that, I wasn't looking forward to that anymore, because it was really hard for me to enter into prayer. It wasn't just this feeling of grace and being lifted, but it was this feeling of emptiness and ache. And it hurt. I couldn't focus on the readings. I had the Magnificat and I would look through the readings, and I would like read the words, and like I couldn't really understand what was happening. I would start praying the rosary and then like forget what beat I was in or what mystery or even what day it was. It was really tough. And then not only that, but then seeing other people having children and being pregnant. The first year, as I mentioned, I would see kids and I would see women pregnant and I would feel joy. You know, I'm so happy for them, genuinely happy for them for carrying a child and the experience of that and remembering what that was like. And then the second year, I would feel agony seeing women pregnant, and I'd feel bad saying this, but like jealousy, right? Why not me right now? Or where are my kids? And that was so painful. And in a way also like, why am I feeling these gifts? Like I felt ungrateful for everything that I had received from God. Like why am I feeling these feelings? This is so ugly. At that point, there were days where I will feel so sad, like I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't have enough coins to spend energy-wise. And I struggled. I would feel very vulnerable and very fragile going to mass. I'd feel tears streaming down my face. And yeah, it was a completely different experience. I continued journaling. I continued showing up, giving my heart to God over and over and asking him to show me the way. But it was a very dry season.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Is there anything you'd like to say to grieving mothers out there?
I just want you to know that however your grief looks like, whether you are filled with grace, whether you feel close to God, whether you feel joy or sadness, wherever you are in the cycle of sorrow, whether you feel heavy or light, I just want you to know it is okay, that grief is its own journey, and that whether you feel God with you or not, God is always with you. Always. He's always faithful, and he is holding your hand and is very close to your heart. I don't know how long the season of agony will be for you. I don't know how long the season of joy will be for you, but I know that in God's perfect timing, everything will be well. And I pray that you have the hope in your heart to meet your children again someday, when God will make all things new. I've put together a free guide titled Encouragement for a Grieving Mom. It is for mothers who are grieving, or for people who know grieving mothers and would like to support them on this journey. You just need to click on the link below.
We pray that this video blesses you and your families. If you know someone who is grieving or supporting someone in grief, please share this video with them. Also be sure to check out our video for grieving dads, where I share my story and experience of the grief journey from a dad's perspective.
We are praying for you and your families.
May God bless you.
We will see you next time.